Every morning, the world gives you two choices: wake up and react, or wake up and rise. Most people stumble into the day. They scroll, they rush, they forget who they are. But you're not here to be most people. You're here to master yourself, to start the day not with noise, but with intention. Marcus Aurelius said, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." That's not poetry. That's a command, a mindset, a blueprint. Because the way you begin your morning is not a small thing. It decides how you handle stress, how you face problems, how you treat others, how you treat yourself. In this video, we'll explore 10 Stoic habits to start your day. Not just with energy, but with clarity. Not just with motion, but with meaning. These aren't hacks. These are habits born of ancient wisdom. They have endured because they work. Let's be honest. Most mornings are stolen before they start. Our phones scream. Notifications ping. Anxiety begins before our feet hit the floor. But what if you could take that power back? What if your mornings weren't dictated by algorithms or urgency, but by values? This is the Stoic morning, not a trend, a discipline, not about hacks, but about habits forged in silence, trial, and reflection. Because the world doesn't care if you're prepared, but life will punish those who aren't. The Stoic morning is your defense, your inner fortress built before the world begins to test your walls. It's not just what you do, it's who you become while doing it. So let's begin. Habit 1. Wake with gratitude. The first habit is simple, but it's not easy. Be grateful, not a vague, passive thankfulness, but the kind of gratitude that roots itself deep in the soul, the kind that says, "I'm still here, and that's everything." Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning that life itself is a gift. He lived during plagues, wars, betrayals, yet he still wrote, "What a privilege it is to be alive." Imagine that. The most powerful man in the world, who buried children, who was surrounded by scheming senators, who led armies, still said thank you. So what's stopping you? When you open your eyes, take a breath and say out loud, "I'm grateful. Grateful for breath, for time, for another shot at virtue." Because gratitude isn't weakness, it's the strongest lens you can wear. There was a soldier once who, after a roadside explosion, lost both legs. In recovery, he told his therapist, "I still have my eyes. I still have my mind. That means I can still serve." That's Stoic gratitude, not denying loss, but elevating what remains. You see, life doesn't owe us anything, not one more sunrise, not one more heartbeat. But if you get it, you've already won. And from that place of power, you build your morning. Wake with thanks. Start with strength. Habit 2. Premeditate the struggle. Now that you've centered yourself in gratitude, it's time for the second habit. Premeditatio Malorum, the premeditation of adversity. The Stoics knew that trouble was inevitable, so they didn't wait to be shocked. They rehearsed it. Before you leave your bed, ask yourself, what could go wrong today? Not to be anxious, but to be armored. You may be criticized. You may be rejected. You may face delays, insults, betrayal. Good. Expect it. Prepare not by building walls, but by strengthening your center. Tell yourself, "I will be patient. I will be kind. I will be unshaken. I will not be ruled by other people's actions." Picture a young mother late for work. Her toddler throws a tantrum. Traffic blocks every street. Her phone buzzes with a dozen unread messages. Most people snap, but this woman, she rehearsed this. She breathes, smiles at the chaos, remembers, "This moment is a test. I trained for it." This is the secret. Life is a storm, but you can become the eye of it. When you anticipate adversity, it becomes your teacher, not your tyrant. So every morning, rehearse the battle. So when it comes, You don't just survive it, you transcend it. Habit 3, stillness before stimulation. The third habit is your shield against noise. Stillness, before the emails, before the texts, before the scroll. Give your mind a moment of peace. The Stoics valued stillness as deeply as they valued reason, because stillness creates space, and space is where your power lives. Take 5 minutes. Sit. Breathe. No inputs, no headlines, no dopamine. A man in Athens used to rise before the sun. He would sit on his balcony, facing the hills, and just breathe. No words, no rituals, just presence. He said, "It's how I remember I'm alive." What you do in the first few moments of waking will echo through your entire day. If you begin with noise, you'll carry it. If you begin with clarity, you'll radiate it. Stillness isn't inactivity. It's intentional awareness. Even Marcus Aurelius, with an empire to run, began his days in solitude. "Now is the time to understand myself," he wrote. So give yourself that gift. Don't grab your phone. Grab your breath. Let silence shape your mind before the world tries to. Habit 4, embrace discomfort. The Stoics didn't run from discomfort. They welcomed it, not out of masochism, but out of mastery. Seneca practiced poverty. Epictetus lived with nothing. Why? To remind themselves that what they feared had no power. Try it. Take a cold shower, skip a meal, wake an hour earlier, not to suffer, but to sharpen. When you choose discomfort in the morning, you teach your mind resilience. You tell it, "I am in command." There's a swimmer who plunges into icy water every dawn, not for thrill, but to master hesitation. He says, "Every morning I defeat the voice that says, 'Stay warm.'" That's Stoic training, not in theory, but in blood and breath. The world will not go easy on you. Why should your training? Habit 5, journal with intention. Journaling is not just for writers. It's for warriors of the inner life. Marcus Aurelius kept his meditations not as a book for others, but as a mirror for himself. Each morning, write, not to perform, but to prepare. Ask yourself, what virtues do I need today? What temptations might appear? What kind of person do I want to be? A CEO, known for her calm leadership, shared her secret, a daily morning journal. Just 3 sentences: be clear, be kind, stay composed. On the days she skipped it, she felt scattered. On the days she wrote, she led with clarity. Your morning pages aren't about solving the world. They're about centering yourself before you face it. Write without judgment. Reflect with courage. Put your inner life on the page before the world puts its chaos in your head. Habit 6. Move with presence. The body is the servant of the mind, but also its partner. Stoics weren't philosophers in chairs. They walked, they trained, they believed in motion. You don't need a fancy gym or perfect form. You need movement with presence. Stretch, walk, run. Breathe deeply as you do. Let every motion be a message. I am alive. I am in control. There was a retired boxer who could no longer spar, but he walked every morning at sunrise. 1 hour, silent, breathing, remembering. He said, "I don't move to escape aging. I move to welcome life." Movement isn't punishment. It's poetry. Even if your knees ache or your muscles resist, move anyway. Your breath is your anchor. Your motion is your mantra. Habit 7. Anchor in wisdom. Begin each day with a single idea. One Stoic quote, one truth, one line that becomes your lens. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Let that remind you what you control. Tape it to your mirror. Say it aloud. Whisper it when the day begins to test you. A young firefighter carried Epictetus's words, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." He repeated them on every call. It didn't erase fear, but it gave him ground beneath it. Words are weapons or shields. Use them. Let the wisdom of dead men protect your living heart. Habit 8. Return to silence. The Stoics didn't speak to fill space. They listened. They breathed. They made room inside before the world pressed in. Before you face the day, retreat into silence. Not for long. 5 minutes. 10. Close your eyes. Let your thoughts rise and fall without judgment. Just sit. Just be. A mother of 3 found her peace not in yoga or retreats, but in 7 minutes each dawn. She sat in the kitchen, hands on her lap before the children woke. She said, "It's the only time I remember I'm more than a schedule." You don't need incense. You don't need perfection. You need a pause. Habit 9. Choose your aim. You cannot do everything, but you must do something. The Stoics believed in essentialism, in cutting what doesn't matter so you can serve what does. Pick one goal, one deep intention, one thing that, if done well, makes the day worthwhile. A writer once said, "If I write one true page, my day is won." Set your aim with discipline. Pursue it with devotion. Distraction is defeat. Simplicity is strength. Habit 10. Lead with kindness. Stoicism is not harshness. It is strength wrapped in empathy. Begin your day not just with power, but with grace. Speak kindly. Greet others with warmth. Offer your presence, not just your opinion. A stranger, a friend, a barista. Leave them better than you found them. A man once made a vow, one act of kindness every morning, a compliment, a thank you, a favor. Over time, it changed his marriage, his workplace, himself. Kindness is not weakness. It's proof that you're governed by virtue, not by ego. Close. Now you have the blueprint. 10 habits, 10 reminders, 10 anchors to steady your soul before the day tries to shake it. Your morning is your foundation. Build it with purpose. Subscribe to Stoic Preview for more strength from the ancients. Like the video, share it, and comment "I rise" if you're ready to lead your day the Stoic way. Thank you for watching.